Most people think they are steering their life through conscious choice, but the research tells a very different story. Have you ever noticed your hand open an app before you even realize what you are doing? Or the moment you drive home and barely remember the last few minutes? These are glimpses into something deeper. Up to 95% of your total brain activity happens outside your awareness. Instead of consciously deciding everything, your unconscious is constantly running background processes that filter information, create emotional reactions, and prepare your body to act. Before you ever feel yourself make a decision, the unconscious has already set the direction. Once you understand how that system works, you can change your behavior, your identity, and the path your life is moving toward. And today, I want to show you exactly how to begin working with your unconscious instead of being shaped by it. Back in the early 1990s, researchers at MIT ran a simple study with rats in a T-shaped maze. At first, the rats explored with high brain activity, but after enough repetitions, the activity dropped. Control shifted into a deeper region called the basal ganglia. The rats ran the maze almost automatically. This experiment became one of the most important studies on habits because it revealed something fundamental. Once a pattern repeats enough times, the brain removes it from conscious control and stores it as an unconscious routine. Humans operate the same way. Out of the 95% of total brain processing that happens unconsciously, around 40 to 50% of it shows up as daily habits. These are not thoughtful choices. They are automatic loops your brain runs to save energy. The 95% number reflects how much of your mental workload is unconscious. The 40 to 50% reflects the portion of that workload that shows up as behavior you repeat every day. Habits are only one piece of a much larger system, and the unconscious influences your decisions even more directly. In a famous neuroscience experiment by Benjamin Libet, researchers discovered that the brain begins preparing a physical action a fraction of a second before people become aware of choosing it. In other words, your brain often initiates a decision before your conscious mind believes it made one. You act first and become aware after. Beyond habits and quick decisions, your unconscious does far more than you ever notice. It filters sensory signals, predicts outcomes based on prior experience, connects memories, shapes your inner voice, and regulates everything happening inside your body. You are living inside a system that is constantly working behind the scenes to keep you alive and help you interpret the world. In 2001, researchers identified something called the default mode network. This network turns on when you are not focused on a task. It shapes your self-talk, your imagination, your internal story, and the emotional lens through which you see your life. It is the system that takes over when you drive home and realize you do not remember the drive. That is not a mistake. That is your unconscious guiding you while your conscious mind drifts. Once you understand how much of your day is shaped by these automatic systems, something shifts inside you. You stop blaming yourself for falling into old loops. You stop thinking you lack discipline. You realize you were never broken. You were running patterns that were created long before the conscious part of you ever got involved. And patterns do not have to stay the way they are. When you learn how your unconscious works, you gain the power to direct it, instead of being directed by it. You can design habits that feel natural. You can interrupt emotional triggers that used to react for you. You can shift the identity your brain rehearses every day. You can change the internal story that shapes your life. So here is what you can do. Start by changing your cues instead of forcing willpower. Cues speak directly to the unconscious because the brain is constantly scanning for signals that tell it what to do next. If you want to read more, place a book on your pillow. If you want to drink more water, leave a bottle where your eyes naturally fall. Change the cue and the behavior follows. Track 1 or 2 small habits each day. There is a well-studied psychological effect called self-monitoring, and it shows something surprising. When you record a behavior, even in a simple way, the likelihood of repeating that behavior increases. Awareness rises. You notice what you are doing instead of running on autopilot. Your attention shifts from unconscious to conscious, and the feedback loop reinforces the action. Seeing a streak or even one check mark builds momentum. Tracking alone can kickstart change because it pulls the behavior out of the unconscious and makes the pattern visible. And once something is visible, you can finally change it. Reduce friction for the behavior you want by working with how the brain conserves energy. The brain prefers the easiest path every time. Make the action you want smoother and the one you want to avoid slightly less convenient. If you want to write in the morning, leave your journal open. If you want to avoid late-night scrolling, place your phone across the room. Take brief pauses throughout the day to interrupt your default mode network. Even 10 seconds of conscious attention can break an automatic loop and reset your mind. And remember that identity is shaped through repetition. Every time you repeat a behavior, you are teaching your unconscious mind that this is who you are now. Change feels slow at first because you are working against old patterns. Once the unconscious adopts the new one, it becomes automatic. That is when change begins to feel natural. Your unconscious is not something to fear. It is a system built to protect you, guide you, and make your life easier. It learns whatever you repeat. It reinforces whatever you believe. And once you understand it, you can reshape your life by reshaping the patterns beneath it. Dreams show you the inner language of the unconscious. Your habits show you how that language becomes behavior. When you work with both, you can redirect the deeper patterns that shape your life. The unconscious is always speaking. The real question is whether you are ready to listen.